Again I was drummed on by the hard facts of rocks and stones and dry bones and the endless tum-tum of tombs, tombs, tombs. Death is the only surety, you said, yet yours remains shrouded in doubt. How can I be taken in? I, who have known the blissful touch of your hands and their cunning when avoiding me. Accidents do happen, especially in the army, you said, like a good lawyer preparing his case. My beloved is gone down into his garden to the bed of spices. Again I was marching up and down the narrow staircases of Jerusalem like a forgotten note on a scale, a lost syllable quivering between the lips of earth and heaven. And you never talked to me about Rachel. Rachel the beautiful, Rachel the glorious, Rachel the beloved from time immemorial. Look at her, just look at her, reclining on the sofa next to her manly, handsome Benny. Came from Europe to fight for the Jewish state and lost a leg at the war, people spread the rumor. Quite a bit older than his wife. Mature, I think, was the word you used. Hour after hour sitting beside Rachel, his hand resting on her palm, smoking his pipe, savoring his coffee in slow, rhythmic sips, so extremely quiet. Content, I think, was the word you used. Into their marriage, Benny imported, among others, his artificial leg and a taste for Brahms, with whose lullaby he puts little Ruthie to sleep every night in pure German and a voice full of roses. A moment pinned down, picture perfect. My eyes on you, yours on Rachel, hers on Benny, and his sailing to the open window to the sidewalk below, where little Ruthie continues skipping the rope. 1, 2, 3, 4. For a while, I have lived in blissful ignorance of Rachel's existence, till we met by chance at Machane Yehuda market. There, amidst the hustle and bustle of crowds, shouts of vendors advertising their merchandise, enticing smell of numberless spices and freshly baked pita bread, there at the vegetable stall she was suddenly revealed, the incarnation of beauty. She stood preoccupied in the task of buying tomatoes, carefully selecting, gently pressing, as if testing their firmness in our unstable world. You know, Rachel told me, pointing to you, we used to be school sweethearts. Rachel the beautiful, Rachel the glorious, Rachel the beloved from time immemorial. Oh, jealousy is cruel as the grave. Why did she insist? Why did she defy doctor's orders? Why? Shouted grief-stricken Benny later, much later, when Rachel's funeral itself had been also buried in the past. That fatal summer of 3 funerals, only on 2 of which you walked beside me. Like a woman possessed, cried Benny, later, much later, when Rachel's funeral itself had been also buried in the past. Like the biblical Rachel, she nagged and pleaded, give me a child or else I die. She had Ruthie, hadn't she? She had me, hadn't she? And I was happy. Content, I think, was the word you used. Search goes on for the missing valiant medic who exposed himself to mortal danger running non-stop among the troops. The news screamed extolling your bravery. A couple of soldiers, not on any rescue mission, found your body by accident. Accident happens, you said, especially in the army. I am the rose plucked of the Sharon, the lily picked of the valley. Born under the sign of Pisces, my life's map consists mostly of oceans. And all the time I'm trying to bridge between land to land. My efforts never cease, constantly on the go, towards the changing horizon, the forever distant. I stick out fingers to scratch his sunset eyes and break my nails. Next year in Jerusalem, next year in Jerusalem, the hills of palpitations, the valleys of drained desires, the monuments of armored vehicles blood-drenched on the way. Caught in a stretch of time that stretches and stretches, space is but an interval. To outsmart time, I keep in motion, faster, fastest, but time is always the winner, while I, its successor, succeed only in being moved. In the shape of my country, I am made of streams and deserts, cities and open fields, and many different people. Her soil is my flesh. Like her Jordan River, controversy runs me through and through. I am her split image. Like my country, I too practice the art of living without peace. We come to the epilogue. I come from a summer country, a country of people unyielding, whose language too is square and unbending as if still hammered in stone. It continues to march from right to left towards the human heart, but clashes on its way with the ones moving in the opposite direction. I come from a country of countless revelations, where each soul's nakedness is brought to light, and every bared nerve is a chord in a symphony of ecstasy and agony. I come from a country of unbending wars and unsurpassed beauty, where old grief is forever renewed, where time is measured bit by bit in heartbeats, and drops of blood are strung as beads on the unending string of messianic hope. Again and again I go searching for a passage to the lost fountain of gardens, to that magnificent orchard of pomegranates, spikenard, and saffron, with all trees of frankincense. Holding my breath for this bubbling world to settle down for just a minute, so I can have my one good look. Alas, on the way, in an infinite U-turn, bumping into you everywhere I turn, invariably scorched by the torch, I continue caring for you, my love. Thou art in the clefts of the rocks, one with Jerusalem, you are my country. Back again in New York, checking new cracks in old souvenirs. Nothing has changed in my familiar study in Manhattan, as if I have never left. Some books stand guard on the shelves, and on the desk, same old mess of drafts. All the things that demand my attention seem to multiply, regardless of whether I come or go. On the wall hangs Jerusalem painted in oil. On a shelf stands a soldier's photo, his youth well preserved under framing glass. The night is chilly, and the sky navy blue, speckled with gold. Battalions of leaves are leaving their home tree, lips curled, prayers sealed in parchment. They appear content to reach eternity in this roundabout way of comings and goings, in the everlasting change of seasons. The stars are sticking out theirs unmoved, tucked in the bed of firmament. An autumnal wind has possessed my door, opening and closing it alternately, as if turning over and over an incomprehensible page. Thank you very much. Any questions, any comments? Yes.
I'd like to share why I came today. I teach Sunday school.
I don't really know so.
I'd like to share with the audience why I came today. I teach Sunday school, and Jerusalem is always mentioned, and I wanted to get a deeper understanding from a different perspective. As you can imagine, I teach in an Afro-American church, so I wanted to come today to deepen my understanding, and I thank you for helping me with that. It was very nice listening to you. It was very
Thank
nice
you.
seeing all of you.
Thank
you for allowing me to be
glad you
here.
came.
I need to go. I have another appointment, but it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Somebody else?
It was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Moving.
Thank you very much. By the way, the book is for purchase on Amazon, and I have also here some copies if you like, but you don't have to.
Thank you. Rena, how did you come upon using the words as Song of Shulamite?
Why I call it Song of Shulamite?
Yes.
Shulamite is mentioned in the Song of Songs. The whole poem actually, the subtext of the poem is the Song of Songs. If you read the book, you see that there are lots of italics where I cite literally, you know,
Right.
from Song of Songs. And because it's called also the Song of Solomon, Shulamite is like in the book referred, come, the Shulamite. So this is like the female beloved kind of, and this is from the female point of view. So therefore I called it the Song of Shulamite. By the way, the term captive of Jerusalem appears also in Jeremiah verse 40, about those who were taken by Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king, also to exile. And but these are captives of Jerusalem, like we said, literally they were taken. Here it is much more metaphorical and like in the mind, although also a way, but not the same. There are lots of biblical connotations here. And it is, by the way, I am glad that it came out separately because it really differs a lot from my usual poems that are, of course, not long and more with a bite, I would say, and really different. Maybe the business of the pessimistic traits and kind of not coming to terms and split personality, maybe it shows in other poems too, but the nature of the poems, the tone of the poems are very different. I hope to have a full-fledged book of my English one, because over these years, these many years, I published in many magazines, but it never was accumulated. But this really, I felt that it ought to be separate. Like I have another thing that should be separate. One of the was published most of the poems, and now one that was never published is going to be in Miller's Pond. Miller's Pond is an internet magazine. The other thing that I speak of is called On Eden. Very different tone. It's much more witty kind of, and with a dig, you know. It's the God's view, men's view, woman's view, zookeeper's view. I mean, all kind of this, but it's much shorter. It's like 17. And the last poem is Old Adam and Old Eve. That's going to be published now. It was not before. So this also should be, like I feel, separate from the others. But all the others should be collected. Eventually, I don't know, if we live long. Because I knew once a writer and a very wise old man in Israel, and he said, the first thing you have to do is to live. And I think he was very right. So I thank you again very much for coming.
Whose picture?